What's going on, guys? Kivox here, and welcome to a new Wandsday. I got 3 wands for you guys today, and I tried to keep them kind of like classy. I tried to keep them a little bit less crazy than the last batch of wands. And is this the first batch? No. The last batch was the first batch of 2020. This is the second batch of 2020. As of right now, I'm doing pretty well for getting wands out and making wands for 2020. It was kind of a New Year's resolution. It was just to make more wands. I just hope that I can continue to stick to this and continue to release new wands on a regular basis. If you guys didn't know, all of the wands that we sell do come with this little display right here that says Ender's Wands, has a little logo on the side, and your wand just sits right here. This is my personal wand, also my favorite wand that I've ever made, and I don't know how I'm gonna top it this year, but hold your wands, you put it on the table, just like a way to, hold it. This one's very pommel heavy, so it always wants to teeter over if you put it on that. They all come with one of these, just so you know, so you can display your wand. All right, so let's just jump right into it. This first wand was made out of cherry wood, and it is a very kind of creepy, whenever you do this style of the little, they're kind of like golf ball dimples. It just makes wands look really creepy. They make it look more organic and like almost like insect ridden. This one's no exception. This one definitely has that creepy factor to it. When you're holding it, you're not really going to see it as much, but it is a very traditional straight style wand, in my opinion. Does not have a really big guard, but has this very unique handle, and everything is kind of weird on it. What I did here with the little dimples is I kind of extended them out, but kind of in random spots all the way to the end to just give it a little bit extra, so that the basically just to make it a little extra. For the most part, it was mostly just to incorporate some of that handle into the blade to make it more cohesive, so that the design works all the way across, as opposed to having this crazy thing going on over here and then it doesn't carry on into the blade. That is a good tip for anyone that's trying to create a new wand. Try to think of like one major feature of the wand. I say this a lot. I tell you guys this almost like every single time. Try to focus on one feature that the wand has and emphasize that and focus on that. If you're making one wand, if it's your first wand, you're gonna wanna include everything that you've seen, all of your favorite things, into that design. I'll tell you right now, it's not gonna work. It's too much. It's gonna be busy, or it's gonna be just not good. So focus on your favorite thing. The main thing for this was the dimples and also this weird shape that we have here. Right? Yeah. Originally I had this and I didn't do any of the burning on it. What I liked about the burning, my idea behind it was I didn't go too deep with the dimples. So what I decided to is go back and burn it to kind of soften up the edges. Let's say this little cup here is one of those dimples, right? As you burn the edge, it kind of just softens it up. It's less perfectly square. It gets a little bit distorted because of the wood burning. It lowers the depth of the hole, so it's not as deep, because some of those walls, those thin walls around the edge, burn down a bit, and it just gave it an extra bit of more like an organic, nice, natural look to the design. And then I just burned the edges ever so slightly and just faded it into the rest of the wand. The same thing on the very tip here. As you can see, it's just a little burned. I didn't want to make it too pointy because, I just don't want you to stab yourself or something like that. One of the wands I did today, it has a nice point on the pommel, which maybe it was a bad idea, but I think it looks nice. This wand is also just shy of 14.5 inches, and I think it's definitely, you have to find somebody that's a little into like some weird stuff with this, because it is like a little bit of a darker style. I'd say the next one's a little bit dark too, mostly because it also has like a dark handle, just like this one does. So let's talk about that. So this guy's made out of maple. This one I have a secret technique that I can't tell you guys on how I made this handle here. Not how I cut it. Cut it, obviously, you just cut it into that shape, do some sanding on there. It's pretty self-explanatory. But now the coloring is the secret that I can't tell you guys. It's a secret. I'm sorry. It's a trade secret. This bit of white that's on there was something that I was experimenting with, and I figured it out, and I think it came out really nice. It's a nice, comfy wand. You can hold it either way, really, this way or this way. Doesn't really matter. It has a little bit of a bend here as well, which I was very proud of. I think it came out nice. I also softened this. This was a little bit pointier before. I just softened it up a bit because I don't want it to like poke anybody, because it's pointy. It was pointy. But for the most part, this one was cut down, and then a lot of sanding was involved, and a lot of like precision sanding, just to try to make it as even as possible, so that it didn't look all crooked and stuff like that. I definitely think that the handle on this is the biggest appeal and the coolest part of it. It's a lighter wood, so it's not too heavy. It's also right around 13 inches, a hair under 13 inches, and it's just a simple, nice. Like I said, the 3 wands for today are all pretty classy and very kind of traditional in some ways, where they don't have any crazy aspects to them, no metal in them or anything like that, but they are. I think that they're turn some heads, right? Maybe. Also, if you guys want to, let me know down below, out of these 3, which one is your favorite? I know I haven't shown you the last one yet. I just want to remind you now before we get too far ahead. And you can't say this one because I said so. But before I show you guys the last wand, let's jump over to some wand reviews. If you guys want to submit your wands for wand review, send them over to newwandsday@gmail.com. I go over them. I get all of them. I have a ton. I'm still like all the way back, where am I? July of 2019. So I'm way behind. I'm trying to catch up. I'm working a little bit harder this year to try to catch up on these wand review videos. So if you do make wands, or if somebody made you a wand, or if you drew up some wands, send them over to that email, newwandsday@gmail.com, and I'll eventually, hopefully, get to them, for the most part, hopefully. As long as I don't have a ton of new Wandsday wands to show you guys of my creation, then I will be doing some reviews during these videos as well, just to add a little bit more content out there. And then also we still have the wand review videos, which is just wands. I'll do like 10 to 20 wands that I'll just review from you guys, or submissions. It's usually more than that, because you guys will send like a picture of like 5 wands. So there are some rules to sending them in. There are in the description. For the most part, just the size of the image is the most important. Just send me a nice 16:9 aspect ratio. That is the ratio of this screen that you're looking at, right? The video. Just makes it a little bit easier to deal with. The first one I want to talk about is Brian from Ohio. Yeah, you submitted this all the way in July. So that's where we're at, guys. I like this one. I really do. I love. So it's what is it? Driftwood. I love the look of that handle. Like that. Just I think that's natural, right? And then you carved the rest of it. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. I think that the blade may be a little bit too thick, but it really all depends. Again, that's always my biggest critique that I ever give you guys, is reduce the blade a little bit, just the fatness. The handle looks like it's natural, so I'm assuming that you obviously can't reduce that, because then you'll lose the white from the thing, unless you painted it white. I'm not sure, but it looks nice. I really like it. I'd love to have that in my collection. I wouldn't mind. I'd put it back there. The next wand was made by Cameron Noel, I believe, and it is made out of beechwood, and it's 14 3/4. So I like this wand. It's a simple design, pretty straight. I like that the blade is a little like wavy. It's not a perfectly straight. It looks like it was most likely one of 2 options right now. It was it was made out of wood. I was gonna say it was made out of clay, but it wasn't. It says that it's made out of wood. But it was most likely hand carved and hand sanded, if I were to guess. Just because it looks like it was. Everything isn't like perfectly seamed and perfectly straight, and definitely wasn't made on the lathe, because lathe wands have a feel to them. They definitely look like they were. I think you did a good job. It's not spectacular. It's definitely good. Like, spectacular is here. I get a couple of those submissions every once in a while. Maybe we'll get one today. I would say it's here. Good, great, good and great are right there. Spectacular. Everybody else. Next one was submitted. Oh, was there more than one on here? There is, and I actually like all of these. So remember when I was talking about, like, oh, okay, it was submitted by then. Oh, right. So there was a wand a few reviews back that I talked about, that I was just like, remember I said spectacular? I was like on par with, like, it was like one of the best ones. It was definitely one of the best ones for that. So I got like a bunch of wands here that I gotta show you guys. And okay, so it was from Sweden, and it was Calle, C-A-L-L-E. If you know how to pronounce that, let me know. From Sweden. And all right, let's just start off with this first one, and it's just classy. Like, it's just a very well done. The ratios are perfect. The pommel heavy looks really nice. The blade has that perfect taper to it. It's just the fit and finish on it, beautiful. Just looks good. Definitely add to my collection. And then, okay, so this next one is somewhat of it looks like a take on the Pottermore wand. It definitely looks, it has the two little tires. I call those tires because the design looks like two rubber motorcycle tires on there. And then the handle just has some of those swirls and stuff on it. It doesn't look like it's the exact swirls that the Pottermore wand gets, the one that has the tires on it, but it looks like you just did your own thing, which I always recommend people do. Just do your own thing. Take inspirations from things and do your own thing. You did. That's great. All these ones. And then the next one. Super dope. This is my favorite. Out of all three of these, this one is definitely my favorite. It looks like it's all made out of wood. It looks like it also has... Okay. I don't know if you meant for this, but it looks like somewhat of a mixture between the Elder Wand and Mad-Eye Moody's wand. I brain farted there for a sec. And yeah, I see the blade from Mad-Eye Moody, and then you have the inspiration for the dots, and also the bottom, the handle, the grip part of it has the Mad-Eye Moody pattern thing on it too. This is awesome. I really like this. Oh, and you did a metal core of some kind. It looks like you possibly put some solder in there, maybe. Melted a little bit of solder. Is that what you did? Did you do that? Yeah, and then obviously this one is the one that you submitted before. That looked really nice, that I really liked. And thanks for submitting that again, because now I remember who you are. I remember wands more than I remember names. I don't remember names at all. But yeah, if you want to like send me one of those wands, I'd accept it. That'd be cool, man. I'll just, put it in the background over there. I keep mentioning that for some reason. All right, the next one is, it just says Phoenix Feather, and then it says no subject, and there's no pictures. All right, and these next handmade wands were submitted by Patrick? I think I'm saying your name right. Where does it say where you're from? Patrick. So we have a couple submissions here. So let's start off with this first one here. It's a somewhat simple design. I don't know if you made it on the lathe or not. So I like everything about it except for the wavy blade. I'm going to explain to you why. It's hard to do that wave. It also doesn't look natural. It doesn't look like a natural, like a natural thing. So it makes it look like it's complex. I understand that, but it's also very simple in design. I can't tell if it's like a spinning spiral. It may be. I can't tell. Okay, so to me in the picture, if you guys see the picture, to me it looks like it's basically just doing this. But I think, now that I'm looking at it a little closer, it's twisting, right? So it just makes it kind of, at a profile, since there's no shadow there, it makes it look like that. So I would say if it's this, I don't love it. If it's a nice spiral, I like it a lot better. I like it better. Yeah. And then if it is a spiral, the only thing that I would recommend is it tapering a little bit more as it gets to the very tip, as opposed to it tapering only at the end. I mean, it's a design choice. If you really like the way it is, don't take what I'm saying as anything. It doesn't really matter. So let's move on to the next one. I like it. It's a cool, it's nice, simple design. Again, I don't know if you did that on the lathe or not, or if you did all hand carved. Okay, the next one, I really, surprisingly, I think that this is the simplest one so far, but I really like it. Is it supposed to be like the Pottermore one that has that like little bend at the end? So it's like the wand is here and it has that like little at the end, because it kind of reminds me of that. I think I like it because it just looks like an like everyday wand. You know, it doesn't look like anything fancy. It looks like somebody was on a budget and they bought this wand when they were like 15 and they've had it their whole life, and it's gone through hell. And it just looks like a very modest, simple wand. And that's what makes me, I think so far, it's my favorite. Is that weird? All right, this one. Again, it's a simple design. It has a very similar design to the very first one, especially in the handle department. I like the little bend at the end. I think that, again, it's a design option. It doesn't mean that I'm right, but I think that if the very end, instead of it just angling like, it does what? It does this, right? Instead of doing this, it's hard to show you what I mean. Instead of doing this, I feel like it should have done this. My finger's a little crooked, as you can tell, where it bends down but then goes up. I think that would just make the wand flow a little bit better, because you do kind of have like an arch on it this way, and then it just goes down. If it did that a little bit, like, you know, where it kind of does that. Oh, there we go. So if this is the wand here, it kind of goes back up a little bit. I think that would give it a little bit extra. And then, okay, this next one I think is very interesting. That burnt part or painted part, I'm not sure. Almost looks like it's like peeled over it, like it's like bent back or something, because of the way that rounded edge looks. I don't know if it's just because of the image itself, it looks like that, but it's a nice job, man. I think you're doing a good job. I think you should continue to make wands. And let's move on to the next one. All right, next one was submitted by Jude. It says, "Hi, my name is Jude." Said like Jew -D. So is it Judy? No, I don't know. You made it more complicated. You should have just written like Judy, if that's how. Let's talk about these wands. Or one. Let's talk about your wand. I actually, I really like this one. There's something missing, and I think I really like the design, right? So I like the fact that you took a branch and you partially ripped off the bark off of it. Gives it a really unique look, and it's tough because with barks, if you go too far, oh well, that part doesn't have a bark now, you know, like that's just how that works. And I really like it. So this is the thing that I was talking about, right? I feel like the only thing that it's missing is a little bit of like darkness, because you had those runes there. It's hard to explain this, but the runes added a lot of dark black to the pommel. So there has to be some sort of, I mentioned it before, there has to be some sort of bringing that into the rest of the wand, incorporating that design into it. It doesn't look bad. It just needs a little bit extra something. So one of the things that you could do is you could experiment. I would experiment this on one of your other attempts. So a different wand is carve up some of the bark off of it. Again, kind of make something similar, like a square or something cut off, and then take whatever you engraved that with, whatever like iron that you did that with, and see if you could maybe trace around, how do I explain this? Trace around the bark on the inside, on the lighter part of the wood. That may add something like just a little bit more character. Or the other simpler thing would be to maybe even take a torch and just darken up some parts of it, just to bring it together a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's it. I think other than that, the design is cool. Other than that, like, you know, this is a cool idea. I like the bark being ripped off in a spiral. I think I've seen it before, but I don't know. Every time I see it, I think it's a good idea. And I think you did a good job. The ratio is surprisingly not bad. The blade is a little bit thick, but it works because of the fact that, I don't know, it just works. On your design, it just ended up working. I think it works because the bark comes up really high. It comes up about halfway, I would say, up the wand, and it tapers, a slow taper from there. You can't really do a full taper from pommel to blade, because if you do, it'll basically just get to a point where it stops, and you can't really taper any of the bark, because if you do, then you lose the bark. Nice job, Judy. So next up is a normal Harry Potter fan. So I finally got to your wand. So all right, I like this. I feel like I've reviewed it already, but super simple, but just done perfectly. So really nothing else to say there. It's the only thing that you could do is add a little bit of color, but you don't have to at all, because it's just a nice simple wand. It's, you know, it looks brand new. It just looks like you just picked it off the shelf. It's like, oh, Ollivander, thank you so much for giving me my wand. I love it. It kind of sucks, right? Because I can't say a lot about it, because it's just done well, and it's definitely a lathe wand. So that's the one downside, is that it's a lathe wand, but that doesn't mean that it's bad, because there are a billion nice lathe wands out there. You just have less options for doing things with it. Nice job. I think that'll about wrap it up for this part of New Wandsday. I think I did more wands than I realized, because I started recording and then I thought I was recording a wand review, and then I just realized that, like, wait a minute, this is a New Wandsday. What the heck am I doing? So you guys got some extra wands there. You're welcome. Let's move on to the last wand. This guy is made out of purple heart, and again, super classy, right? I got some facets on here, as you can see. And I actually hit it with a little bit of blue acrylic. It's purple heart, so it started off purple. I hit it with a little bit of blue acrylic, and this ball part of it right here is burnt, and you can't really tell, but it is black, and it has that characteristic of when you burn wood. And then you also have a little crack right here, and that's actually from it being burned and then sanded down and then burned. You can see that there's that little natural crack that appeared on there. Originally, this was a very, it was like a brownish purpley color, because of this version of this purple heart was a little bit more like a reddish light purple color. So then when I added the blue, I really think it just amplified the styling of it. Just having that blue color on there with the purple just really just made it super nice. I brought the guard down lower on this one. I just thought it would look a little bit cooler, holding it this way as opposed to the traditional style, which would be up there. Just looks really nice. This is cut right here at a nice little sharp angle. This is the one I was talking about, was pointy at the end. It's definitely a little pointy. You definitely don't want to whatever, stab somebody with it. The facets actually, if you look closely, you may be able to see that they do like go in a spiral all the way around. So they actually wrap this way around the wood. So I thought that added a little bit more to those facets just to make them a little bit more, fancy looking. And then you may not be able to see all that blue on there, but the blue and the purple just really, they did it for me. That's what made me really, I think this is my favorite of the three. Just something about it just makes it cooler than the other ones for myself. These three are this week's new wands. I'm gonna try to do these at least every other week or every couple of weeks. Whenever I get a chance to make some wands, I'm gonna be trying to put them out as soon as I can, and hopefully doing some. If I can get like 3 done every once in a while, I can do more reviews as well. So look forward to that. 2020 new wands. Hopefully we have some good times. I used 3 different techniques for all of these, and I would say that for this one I went in super heavy. This one, it was just a gentle lightness here. And then this one, originally I burned this, but I ended up changing the way I wanted to go about it, because it was one of those things, right? Like I've been saying this like whole video, let me put these down. There's that little, like that extra 10%, and these wands were exactly that. I made the 3 of them, I really liked them. But when I really looked at them even before I made this video, like a couple of days ago when I finished making them, I thought like they're about 90% done. They're still, what's the extra that I could put in? They needed to be extra. They couldn't just be basic. And that's what I've been telling you guys. That's kind of what the theme of this video has been for the most part, is try to get that extra 10% out of it, so that you're 100% happy with it. And not just like, I like it. I like it. It's pretty good. I would say it was the same thing for all 3 of these. So this one originally didn't have any of this black, none of this like weird off-white color in there either. It was just the simple design, the simple color. It was just flat, and there was really nothing there. This was all added in afterward. This was the extra 10%. Now for this one, it was a little bit different. It was like almost there. It was like 95%. And I was like, man, I really like this one. This was my favorite one that I've made out of this batch so far. And I couldn't figure it out. There was no blue. It was just the basic color, and then I added in the black here. I burned the ball and I burned each of the ends. Give it a little bit extra, a little punch. I got about 5% out of that. I needed that extra 10, that extra 5. You know what? Going for an extra 10 is not a big deal either. 105% would be perfectly fine. I was gonna go with purple. I was gonna add a little bit extra purple, do some dry brushing on it to just give it that extra little bit, but I decided against that. I went with blue instead to give it the extra little bit that I needed. And as you can see, again, I think that blue, if you can see it in that, just like gives it that extra bit. And then this one didn't have any of this burning here either. It was just, it looked too much like perfectly drilled in. It didn't look hand enough. It looked too machined, So for this one, I definitely would say that it was just to get that extra organic part of it, right? The burning definitely softened everything up, and it may be hard to see, but there's like nice little burned like cracks in there that added more to that, made it look less like a golf ball, as opposed to how it looks now, which just looks like burnt and beat up and weird. And that's how I got my extra 10% out of these 3 wands. So that was your lesson for today, guys, and your review and my new wands. If you want to pick up any of these wands, first of all, if you are a patron, you have early access to these. So you're probably watching this video first. You have the earliest access if you have the video early access. Otherwise, it's going to be going up for the rest of the patrons next, and then after that, this video is coming out for everyone. And so if you're a patron, contact me on Discord and you can pick up one of these before it goes out to the public. Otherwise, if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else after the date that it comes out, and you want to look for these on the shop, you can go to enderswands.com if you want to become a patron so you get early access. Links at the end of the video, also in the description. I was going to say at the end of the description, that would just be complicated and weird. Why would you want to scroll all the way down? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below, including the word cat. Leave a comment down below letting us know what your favorite wand out of all of these was, including all the wands that I showed that belong to you guys. And if you want to submit your wands to New Wandsday, check them out. Send it to newwandsday@gmail.com. I don't know why I said check them out. I'm just losing it now. This video's been going on for too long. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.